What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we are going to be talking about 5-starring the Aqueducts. This is the second level in the Drastic Steps campaign for Orcs Must Die 3. It's a little tricky because you're dealing with another multi-gate situation. They don't give you all 3 gates at the same time like they did with the first level, but the pathing here is very weird. Both of the walking enemies are coming from 2 very separate areas that you will either have to merge or deal with separately. I'm always a fan of merging the lanes. Trying to deal with them separately generally tends to have you split your attention, and if there's a leak somewhere, you might not be able to plug it in time. Either way, we set up these Sawblade Launchers, which are amazing. If you have not tried this trap out, tinker around with it. To just kind of bounce between these the gate here. It'll bounce off walls, ceilings, floors, and you can set them both vertically and horizontally. If you can get a vertical setup here, it will shred pretty much anything it walks into, and it basically deletes heavy enemies. It can kind of get stuck on them as it's trying to move through the air, and I missed selling that one. And it will just shred them until they have no HP left or the duration of the blade runs out. It's a very interesting and extremely powerful trap. Either way, we are going to set up a set of lasers and some barricade walls here. The main thing that we're worried about is just deleting the lighter enemies so that we don't have to think about killing them ourselves too much. That leaves us to deal damage to the heavier ones. You'll see that I use this sort of like filtering out certain enemy types strategy pretty often, and it's because it frees up a lot of your decision making. You no longer have to worry about all of the small guys coming through. You just have to deal with the heavier ones, and that sort of gives you your targeting priority for setting up your traps. Now, I'm using the Blunderbuss here again because again we're going to be dealing with a lot of heavies. If you feel comfortable enough with dropping the healing trinket, you can actually bring the alchemist satchel or another source of acid damage, if you please, and that will allow you to deal even more damage to the heavier enemies, which might make this a little bit quicker for you rather than just freezing them. But freezing also gives you a moderate damage boost to physical damage, which the Blunderbuss is. So you know, your mileage may vary, but choose what works best for you. You could also attempt, because of the linearness of the pathing here, to just use the Scepter of Domination, which would be really powerful against the heavier enemies, and you'd be able to kind of spam it like crazy. It's really good when you can get these straightaways because, you know, it's very less likely that you'll be missing shots versus something that is basically forced to walk in a straight line at this point. Now, you can, instead of using the ceiling lasers, try mixing in some ballista here, but what I find is that, again, the lasers do very good at filtering out the light orcs, so you only have to deal with the heavy enemies and whatever remains of the orcs, usually just a couple of heavies. And that's kind of important to deal with. You can aggro some of the heavies, but it's really difficult to actually just clear out the concentration of enemies with the short pathing here. And the short pathing is kind of the trick with a lot of the early levels in Drastic Steps. They don't really start giving you a break on that until you get beyond the warmage or beyond the war scenario. Yeah, in the beginning, the areas are pretty short. You have some sappers that you'll have to deal with at certain points as well, and you definitely want to make sure the sappers don't blow up any of your cage. You don't have enough cash early on to deal with a lot of this stuff. Now we just delete the row of barricades that we have there so we can set up some cash. About 7 to 8 of these ceiling lasers will handle the majority of these flyers. If you were on warmage, you would probably be able to handle all of them, but on Rift Lord, they mix in some shockbats this time. They know that that's a good area for ceiling lasers, and yeah, they expect you to use them there. So if you pay attention to the enemies as they float through, you'll notice shockbat by the red shield that shows that it is taking no damage. You want to immediately shoot at those with whatever weapon you have on you. But as long as we can keep most of the fodder enemies cleared out from this little funnel here, we can focus purely on the flyers. Now, we put some ballista at the end. These ballista are arcane damage here. They don't have to be arcane, but arcane helps when they target the other heavy enemies because they usually have a physical resistance, especially if they're armored. So I chose to add the arcane damage type here. There are no void bats on this level, so you won't have to worry about them hitting a flyer and dealing no damage. What you will have to worry about is the high degree of dynamite archers and sappers that will be coming through, as well as the regular archers and eventually some cyclops mages that are going to be trying to shoot at you. If you stay too close to your barricades, you'll see me backing up behind the rift repeatedly and kind of I'm watching my mini-map to see what's getting through the lasers and what needs to be shot. If they get too much damage on you, which it's almost impossible to do while you have rift healing on you, you'll be fine as far as healing goes. But if they get too much damage on you while you're near the barricades, or you let the dynamite archers drop one too many arrows near them, they will blow up and you will just lose. So let your traps do the work, especially if you're using a setup like this, and you'll be fine. For the most part, I'm trying to target the heavier enemies, especially the ranged ones. The cyclops mages specifically are kind of a big problem. They deal a lot of damage, and if you happen to be close to your barricades while they shoot their homing projectile, if it doesn't hit you, it will hit the cades, and that's super bad. Adding a little extra damage to the right side there is not a bad idea at all. What that will do is it will help to clear out some of the enemies sooner, and part time here is again very tight. You have pretty much just enough time to clear this before things start to get a little hectic. You can see the range on the archers is as ridiculous as ever, and they can basically almost hit your barricades from below you. So be very careful when you're peeking out there to deal some damage. Try to stay at a safe place, and again, murder those bats. Those bats can kind of get sneaky and try to fly through, and you can't 100% trust the targeting of your ballista to take out the flyers over anything else. So keep an eye on the bats. Don't stand near your barricades unless you want to bring the upgrade for the trap reset trinket, which heals your barricades. If you do that, you can play it a little bit riskier than what I'm doing here, but for the most part, you want to try to stay away. It's possible here for you'll see me whiffing so many grenades trying to take out these archers that are kind of stuck on the side here. They can get stuck at a lower height than most of the regular orcs, and you'll find that they just wind up shooting at the barricades. It's terrible. It can wind up losing you the level if it happens. So if you follow this strategy specifically, be on the lookout for it. And matter of fact, if you do anything involving barricades around that area, just be careful, because that could be the reason that you might be getting barricade damage. But either way, that is going to be the clear. Let me know what you guys think of it, and as always, until next time, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you in the next video. Feel free to follow me both here on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/VermillionPhoenix, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, folks. Peace.